Welcome back to Northwest City Politics in the Know with Juanita. We're glad that you're joining us again this evening. It's been a little while, so we're glad to have you back watching our show. And we're always glad there are people who are interested in what's happening in our city councils. Because it is important for good government, for the residents, for the council, for the mayor, for the city staff to all be in communication with each other. It makes for better government that way. So we're glad that you're rejoining us. If you're from the city of Golden Valley, we encourage you to take down Larry Fonnest, who's on the city council, take down his email and phone number, and then if any of the issues that we talk about tonight are really of interest to you, give him a call or send him an email. Because all of the people in government, at least in our area, I know, are anxious to hear from you. Now I want to welcome Larry back. It's been a little while since we've had you on, so I'm glad to have you back here again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And then I asked you to kind of introduce yourself a little bit to the wider audience. People in Golden Valley would know you, but out in some of the other 9 cities in CCX's viewing area, they might not. So we'll give a little introduction.
Okay. A very little.
That's good.
I first got involved in Golden Valley city politics back in 2002 when the city pulled together citizens to discuss our vision for the city for the next 30, 40 years. It was called Envision Golden Valley, and there were about 600 citizens who participated in that event. And the document which was created is still in use at City Hall. So a lot of good work was accomplished. I then became interested in city politics and was appointed to the Board of Zoning Appeals back in 2012. And that was a very good learning experience. And based on that and opening or two on the city council that came up, I decided to run for public office in 2014 and won my first election, and ran for re-election in 2018. So I'm now in my 7th year on the council with another one to go.
Right. That's the ultimate involvement, right?
It is.
Right.
Yeah. You think you know a lot and you learn a lot more.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yep.
Well, now one of the areas that I've gathered some information on and talked with you about a little bit earlier was the area of a downtown planning study.
Yes.
That Golden Valley had so, and this is back from 2018, 2017 probably.
Well, we've been talking about the downtown area for years.
Okay.
But we formally launched a study in 2017.
Right, so leading up to when you launched the study, what were some of the general concerns people were talking about?
Well, as I was out campaigning the first time for election to office, I don't know how many people told me that they would like to see a more vibrant downtown Golden Valley.
Right.
With more restaurants, higher end restaurants, and the like. And through the years now, we're in phase 3 of the study. And we're really honing in now on the finer details. But we've heard loud and clear that people are looking for an updated shopping experience. They're looking for a better sense of community and downtown Golden Valley. And they're looking for a pedestrian and bike-friendly atmosphere. And so we have been working with professionals in the field of city and urban development as consultants. We've been working with realtors and other consultants to again, hone down on the details of what we might be able to do long-term to enliven our downtown area.
Yeah, you've gathered a lot of information from several different groups that have some expertise in it, right?
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
what are the boundaries of that downtown area as far as Golden Valley goes?
Well, it includes Highway 169 to the west, the Golden Valley Country Club to the east, the Loose Line Regional Trail to the north, and Highway 55 to the south. So it's taking in generally what I think most people consider to be our current downtown.
Yeah, I think so, right.
But as the visioning of Phase 3 starts to kick in, and what that will lead to eventually might bring about a real change in the look and feel
what's
of
happening
downtown.
and what's there, and
Exactly.
right. Yeah, you have to keep moving to the area people are wanting to go to, or you're going to lose ground along the way.
That's right.
You want
That's
people
right.
to want to come to your city, and so you need to make some changes, and I'm sure that's not necessarily an easy thing to do.
Correct. And, you know, the important thing to remember, too, is that the vast majority of the land and property in this plan are privately owned.
Right.
And so we can envision the future and try and excite people
Right.
around what is possible.
Right.
But it is up to the private developers
definitely.
and the owners of these properties
Definitely.
to come on board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's part of the process, I suppose, right?
that is part of the process. Yes, indeed.
Now, what kinds of, like in the gathering information from the different groups that you went to, what were the kinds of guidelines or areas did you ask them to respond to you about? I think, weren't there 4 different areas that were mentioned?
Right. Well, let me start by saying this, that the downtown city area has been broken up into 4 quadrants.
Right.
And we're looking at developing different quadrants of the city at different times. And we asked the consultants what strategies the city can employ to enhance the downtown experience so that it will attract people and hold them.
Right.
And we're also curious to know if the City Hall campus is an attractive redevelopment site. The buildings there are aging.
Right.
And some of them are no longer meeting our needs. That would be especially true of our Public Works department.
Right.
And so the thought is that over time, we might look at moving parts of the city campus to other locations and better facilities.
Sure.
And then that land would become available and the city would control it.
Right. You could decide what went there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at both public and private partnerships to see if something can gel.
Right.
And just to mention that one of the thoughts is that we go together with the Hennepin County Library
Right.
and create a new city hall and master library for the city of Golden Valley.
Yeah, that would be a public partnership.
A public partnership, indeed.
For yeah, because Golden Valley, how many years ago was it when they kind of redid the area as it is now?
Well,
20?
The area to the east of Winnetka, where I'll mention them if I may,
Sure.
Starbucks and
Right,
Dairy
right.
Queen are located. I believe that was almost 20 years
That's
ago.
what I was thinking, right?
Yeah, that was almost 20 years ago. The Golden Valley shopping mall, which dates back to the 1950s, has been there quite a while.
Right, right.
And that is an area that the city is very interested in seeing either refurbished or redeveloped.
Right. Yeah, and you're seeing that true in a lot of areas, that little shopping malls are having a harder time keeping them filled than they used to.
That's correct.
So
Yeah,
we're in a period of change.
that we are.
So you're looking to identify which way is it going,
Exactly.
and then you can move on forward from there. Because phase one was gathering the information from the experts, right?
That is correct.
So then what was involved in phase two? Because they're looking at a specific area now, Golden Valley Road and Winnetka, where they intersect.
Right, right.
So what's happening in that phase?
In that phase, initial development was envisioned, if I may put it that way. And we made some assumptions of what might happen, not necessarily what will happen, but what might.
Right.
And so we're looking at new mixed-use facilities, buildings in that part of town where you may have retail on the ground floor.
Oh, right.
And parking behind the buildings, and then apartments above. As you know and your audience knows, there's been a fair number of apartment buildings, senior housing units, and the like built, and there are more potentially in the pipeline.
Right.
And so we're looking at a concentrated, almost urban area, potentially, in downtown Golden Valley. Because that would bring more people, which would bring more retail.
Oh, right.
And
they kind of go together.
They do. We have to have the bodies in order to have the development.
Right.
Right. So that is, in a nutshell, what we're looking at. And to see the concept drawings that the consultants have put together, and the trails, the parkways, reorienting the city campus towards the creek, which is to the north of where City Hall is sitting now, and really incorporating the stream then into the downtown atmosphere. And so there's a lot of creativity going on right now.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And first you have to visualize it, then you can work to make it a reality.
Exactly.
Or as best you can.
As best we can.
And you've had a lot of public input, I think, into this, haven't you?
We have. We have a commitment as a city council and as a city administration to involve our community members whenever and wherever we can. And so to that point, we had a public open house back in October of last year.
Right.
We've done online comment forms for people to fill out at their leisure. We had a downtown walk and bike survey. We've talked with property owners and with other stakeholders in the downtown area. And of course, all of this has been funneled then through our Planning Commission and the City Council.
Right. So there's lots of involvement from several different groups into pulling together something for, now you're in phase 3, right?
That is correct.
We mentioned it before, but maybe we can just go over again a little ways of what phase 3 now is going to be.
Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to drill down on the details.
Okay.
And so we're going to come up with a more detailed plan, more detailed design, and implementation strategies that will be completed by the end of this phase and will result in a downtown redevelopment framework plan. Exactly.
Okay, now the Department of Motor Vehicles is the lower level of your city hall.
Correct.
And it has been closed for a while. So first of all, what types of vehicles, or what can you come to that Department of Motor Vehicles to get? And what ones aren't you able to get there yet? Because it was first closed completely, so nobody could do anything.
Right.
And now there's some things that people can do, and I thought we should distinguish what you can go there for.
Okay, very good.
And how.
Yes, and obviously the License Bureau was closed, as was City Hall, because of COVID-19 and our concern for our residents and our employees. But we are now taking appointments only at the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles. And you can register your motor vehicles, boats, bicycles, snowmobiles, and ATVs. You can also pick up a fishing or hunting license.
Yeah, so it's a useful place for people to go that are close in the area when they need that.
It's very convenient. Certainly a lot easier than going to a certain place in St. Louis Park and taking a number.
Right.
And waiting for an hour.
Right.
Yes. Our office does a brisk business, but it turns each transaction over very quickly.
Okay, so now people can do that, but they have to call City Hall? Do they call the Department of Motor Vehicles?
What they do is they visit the Golden Valley website, which is on your TV monitors from time to time.
Right.
And if you go to DMV, Department of Motor Vehicle page on our website, you will be able to schedule your meeting.
Oh, okay, right there.
And you will know exactly the time and the date that you can go in. Now, there's a caveat to that.
Right.
Staff ask that you wait in your vehicle until 5 minutes before your appointment and then approach the front door of City Hall, and then you will be admitted to the building. There is only a 5-minute window. And if you are late to your appointment because of the demand that is already out there for these services, you may lose your place in line. And so it's very important to wait in your car until the 5-minute mark, approach the door, and then you will be admitted and you will go to the head of the line.
Yeah, that's important to know, because that is possible. And then I think you can renew your license tabs over on the website. You don't even have to go into City Hall to get that done.
That is correct. And you can also do it, basically you can do it in person, as we just discussed. You can do it through the utility drop box at the front of City Hall. And you can also mail in your stubs or your request for stubs.
So all of those things are still available, but in a slightly different form until we get farther along in this COVID process.
Exactly.
And then the city is working more steadily on the budget for 2021.
Yes.
And it gets started in January and then kind of gets into full gear over the summer, doesn't it?
Right. This week, actually, is the roll up your sleeves and get out the pen and pencil.
Right.
We're starting to dig into the details of the budget as we do each year. And by the end of this calendar year, of course, December, we will have the budget for next year. And this is a very transparent process. Folks can follow along on our city website. All of the budget documents are there.
Right.
And if you have concerns about a particular investment that we're considering or about your own property taxes, I would encourage you to contact the city and specifically our finance director, and we will try and find answers for you. We may not always agree with your point of view, but we'll certainly try.
Right. So the process will be ongoing, and if people want to, they can sit in on your meetings as you go.
Absolutely. We welcome people's input. We're looking in 2021 at a budget in excess of $25 million. And about 20 million of that is coming out of general funds, which are property taxes, and another $5.4 million in bonding. So that's longer term debt.
Right.
So it's not a modest amount. It's a significant dollar investment.
And then the property taxes that people pay per month go to support various things that are happening in the city. They don't just disappear into this large mug of money. Maybe you can tell about some of the different areas that your property taxes go to cover.
Of course. The, again, lion's share of the budget is general fund money. And on the average home, in terms of price here in Golden Valley, which is now at $335,000, that's about $141 a month in taxes. And those taxes are then invested in fire protection, police protection, our public works department, streets, and the like, park and recreation, including Brookview and all of our neighborhood parks and playgrounds, our physical development office, which encompasses a whole host of services, including planning and outreach to developers and homeowners that are contemplating either new construction or remodeling. And then, of course, we have our city administration, which includes the city council and our debt service. And so, all in all, we on council study these numbers for months, literally months. And we try and shave where we can. If memory serves me correctly, in this current year of 2020, we shaved about $195,000 out of the budget, out of the proposed budget, to help maintain the levy at the rate it was most comfortable, if you will, for us and hopefully for our residents.
Yeah, because it's a balancing. The money is going to a lot of different things that people want. So when it comes to cutting, you're going to be cutting something that somebody wants.
Exactly, and
now let's talk a little bit about your police department.
Sure.
Community policing is part of what Golden Valley does, but can you explain for our people out there, because they see the term in the paper and used on media types things, what is community policing? What does it involve?
Well, here again, I'm very pleased, if I can use that term, with our city manager, Tim Cruikshank, and with our police chief, Jason Sturgis. They're both very forward-thinking administrators, and what we were seeing in the field as police reacted to calls were people in distress with either mental health problems or they were, suicidal, this, that, or the other thing. And police officers are trained to deal with those situations, but they're not always necessarily the best people to be there
for that particular problem.
So the city of Golden Valley has earmarked 2 positions within our police department as community outreach staff. And these individuals who are police officers, but they have received special training in these areas of social and community interaction. And these folks then either go out with a police officer to address a situation, or after the fact, follow up with the resident to see what resources they might need and other support that the city might be able to help them reach. And so we're taking a very proactive approach to dealing with these troublesome situations.
Now, there's a lot of different policies and practices that your police department needs to follow, and people are concerned about those nowadays, right, after all
Right.
that's happened. Where can people find out that information? Because it's available.
It is available, and again, to credit Chief Sturgis, he set up a dashboard on our website at the City of Golden Valley. I have a printout of it here, and it's going to be nearly impossible for you all to see at home, but it includes the Golden Valley Police Department policy manual,
Right.
our hiring and training practices, our community outreach efforts, and then it goes into reporting on a whole series of police responses. As for instance, a call for service. Just last year, and I'll have to get my glasses on here, we had 258 calls under that category.
Right.
We had a number of reported incidents, arrests, citations, and written warnings, traffic stops and crash reports, mental health incidents, and then there are monthly crime statistics as well. This information can be found again on the dashboard of the Golden Valley Police Department window, and it's a wealth of information
Oh, yeah.
about what is going on in our city and how the police are responding.
Right, and there's a lot of concern about that, so that people should know they've got a place to go.
Exactly.
They can look it up, and if it develops more questions, then they can reach out to the city.
Exactly. And Chief Sturgis is always available for inquiries from the public.
And then people in the city can also sign up for crime alerts and Golden Valley emergencies. Maybe you can explain that a little bit to our audience.
Yes. Again, it's a matter of just going to the Golden Valley Police Department window and clicking on the appropriate icon. And it's a simple matter of entering your contact data for your cell phone. And the police department will send out alarms, if you will.
Right.
If there's impending damaging weather, or if something has happened in the city where people need to take shelter
Right.
for whatever reason. And so it's just another way for our police department to keep our public informed.
But the city website has a lot of information too for people.
It does.
On voting.
That's always the best place to go.
Right. Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing your time and your experience with our audience out there. And we'll ask you to tune in next week for part 2 on Golden Valley's issues. We're glad you joined us, and we hope you'll come back. Bye.